Well, welcome back to the Word, the expanded Word. But this is the Gospels edition. Hey, we're in Matthew. We're finishing up chapter 11. We're in verses 25 to 30. It says this: at that time, Jesus declared. I want to stop there, but we're going to read it. I thank you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and understand and reveal them to the little children. Yes, Father, for such was your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Man, this is a passage theologically that can be complicated, right? It doesn't sound like it should be, but look at what Jesus says in this. He declares this, right? So this is the way it is. Thus saith the Lord, right? It's not Jesus answered them. Jesus said to them. Jesus offered them, the opportunity to ponder this. This is Jesus declared. Thus saith the Lord. And what does he say? Because we should probably clue into that, right? I thank you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and understanding and revealed them to little children, right? That's a concept. This is a concept that is way, way, way above my ability to understand. So maybe I am in the understanded group, the first group for this, right? Maybe I need to be more like a little child. But the point is, Jesus says here, hey, Father, you, the Father, has hidden things from the wise and understanding. That doesn't seem possible. God says, seek and you will find, right? Keep searching and you will find, right? What does he mean by that? Well, it's funny because I don't have any problem getting that concept from little children. You know what little children do? When you tell them no, they keep saying why, right? And eventually you have to have the age-old parenting class skill that comes out. And it is, because I'm your mother and I said so, because I'm your father and I said so, period, end of story. Meaning, I'm never going to tell you, right? But the children keep seeking and searching, right? One of the problems in this chapter is that the wise and the understanding, that alludes to the fact that these people think that they are wise and understanding. Oh, they're learned, right? They've learned allotted, right? They are wise and understanding in their own ways, in their own thinking. It's not necessarily God's calling them wise and understanding. He's actually comparing them to little children, saying they're pretty stupid in comparison to little children. What God is saying in this moment is, those people who think they have it all, those people who know it all, I'm hiding the very principles of the kingdom from them. It's why God said humility is the key. It unlocks the kingdom. Right? The knowledge, the understanding, the wisdom of Jesus starts, right, with simplicity, with humility. Children admit that they need to learn by their wanting to learn. You know the reason? The second that you say why to somebody, you're telling them you're not wise, you don't understand. You need to learn, you need to know something, right? But do you ever notice spiritually high, upper, fluent people? Do you know what questions they never ask? Is why. Do you know what phrase they will never, ever, ever say? I don't know. Well, why? Because no wise and learned person would ever say, I don't know. Right? You can't. Even though, you just heard me read, God has hidden things from the wise and understanding. Listen super carefully. Super, super carefully. Be careful not to put yourself in the category of wise and understanding. Do not look down on people who are trying to learn. Do not stop learning yourself. Do you know why most relationships go bad? Because people quit trying to learn about the other person And then they just start assuming they know everything about the other person. Right? Just heard a great story this morning. Not going to steal it, but the whole concept of the story is after a very long time, somebody admitted they didn't and never did really like something. Holy cow. How could you go a long time living with somebody and find out afterwards that they didn't like something? Right? It means somewhere along the line, do you know what somebody didn't do? I love it because I have people in my life who say, do you like this? They make something for you, they do something for you, and they say, does this make you happy? Is this the way you want it? Do you like this? Right? Do you know how crazy that is? Do you know what we normally do? Normally, I will make a pile of pancakes, throw it in front of somebody and say, here you go. And then my expectation is that they're going to tell me that they're the greatest pancakes in the world. No, I know that they're not the greatest pancakes in the world. But that's my expectation because that's what we do. We force people into telling us things that we want to hear, right? How do I look today? Well, let me see. How's this going to go? Because if I tell you what I really think about how you look today, we're going to fight and not talk the rest of the day. But if I tell you what you want to hear, then you're going to say thank you. So do you know what's funny? There's a story. There's a story out there. You probably have all heard this. Let me end with this, right? There's a story of a woman who every day, right, asked her husband if she looked good when she went out the door. And the first day that she asked, he said, honey, there's a problem. And that immediately turned into a big fight. So every day after that, he kept telling his wife, right? One day, his wife walked out of the house with toilet paper hanging out of her skirt, right? Not just attached to her somewhere, but, hanging out her skirt. Super embarrassing. Right? She got to school, and of course, some of the kids are going to be laughing, right? And then somebody finally told her. She got home, and it was a horrendous day, and she got super, super, super mad at her husband, right? Why? Because he didn't tell her. Well, wait a second. Right? She made it very clear that what she wanted to hear was, I look great, I look great, I look great. So he was just telling her what she wanted to hear. First, we don't have a God that's going to tell you what you want to hear. And hopefully you have some people around you that aren't going to tell you what you want to hear, right? But wise people in their own standing, right, they never want to listen to what anybody else has to say. So even if you told them they have toilet paper hanging out from their skirt, they're not going to listen to you. Because they look in the mirror and they deem that they look great as they look at the front side of them. But they never, ever look at the back side of them, right? That's what wise people in their own standing, understanding people in their own understanding, they do. They listen to themselves talk, and it just all makes sense to them. It all makes sense. And so you know what God says? You're not going to listen to me, so I'm going to quit talking to you. There are a lot of people out there, maybe you're one of them. You know a lot about God, but you haven't heard the voice of God in a long time, if ever. Why? Because you're so pumped up on your understanding of God that even if God talked to you, it would never work. So, listen. Maybe you should check your spiritual outfit out. See if you have maybe some toilet paper sticking out from the behind. Maybe you might want to do that. Maybe if you're looking for some answers in all seriousness and you got some questions and God doesn't seem to be answering, maybe it's because you're leaning on your own understanding, your own wisdom. Maybe you need to be like a little child. We'll see. Hey, we're going to see you next time right here on The Word Expanded, the Gospels.